So the next question I had is not has to do with responsibilities, but it has to do with I guess it's pretty similar, like or not similar, like code words. So have you found any like essential code words that like apply that you use on all teams? I guess an example for me was I mean it's like it's the most basic like pause, like freeze. You know, saying
Yeah,
freeze is like a pretty essential code word that every team should have. Where it's like everyone just stop what you're doing. Or
yeah,
snap, that's another good one too. If like you get a
yeah,
pick and you're grouped up, snap the site, like just explode.
yeah.
Have you found
No,
any essential code words that you apply to
yeah.
all your
So
teams?
yeah, so you already said two of them, right? Which are super. Like on our team, we say shark and dolphin, right? Don't ask me why.
The
But
name guy?
shark means, yeah, the name guy.
Yeah.
Shark means speed up, right? Like just go, everyone go right now, wherever. Like just go, 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 go. So like you said, like we're kind of set up to do like just example that comes to my mind. Maybe we're set up to do a B split on Anubis, and they try to double push B main and we kill both, right? And it's just like shark, 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 just go, 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 go. Don't wait, like don't waste time. We know that there's max one guy here. Just go, right? Everyone just speed up and go. And then dolphin is the opposite, which you already talked about, which is freeze, right? Like, okay, we manufactured a pick somewhere, right? Like we boosted over the mid smoke news, we killed a guy, and we don't really want to speed up, so just dolphin, right? Wait for them to make a mistake, see if they do anything. If they don't do anything, then great, we can go into something. If they do, because a lot of times, especially like lower level teams, if you get a pick early, I swear, like so many times you can win the round just freezing because they're just gonna walk into your crosshair because
Yeah.
they feel like they have to do something now because they just lost a pick, right? So for anyone that's in like the lower levels, right, like that's a practice that you need to have, and you need to like really drill this into your players. Like don't, especially after just like one pick, right? Like, don't always just go. I see this so many times that like with lower level teams, like they get a pick and they're just so excited. Oh my god, we got the pick! We're gonna win the round, boys! And they just run in. And then like if you're playing teams with strong individuals, they're just gonna farm you, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're just running in willy nilly now, and like they're just gonna get this multi kill, and then you're gonna be the one left like feeling like what just happened, right? And I think like it's actually funny. Like, you probably don't even remember this, bro. But like, do you remember that St. Louis land?
Yeah.
You remember the St. Louis land? You were there, and like that because the next word I'm about to say is like in my opinion, the most essential key word is reset.
Uh
Right, and it's funny because like I actually remember we were playing at that land. I remember you were behind us and you were watching, and I remember we were calling like reset, reset. And I remember hearing you after the game. You were talking to one of your teammates, and you were saying like, "Oh yeah, they were saying reset, this and that." Right, like I actually vividly remember that. I don't know why,
really?
but yeah, but reset is like to me the most like essential keyword to have. Like,
Yeah.
and what that means for anyone that doesn't understand is reset the round, right? Like whatever we had the call, like it's chalked. We can't do it. Reset the round. Just completely approach this from like a completely new scenario, right? Like what we did was didn't work, or maybe it worked too good, right? Like maybe we were just defaulting and I don't know, like they just try to like triple push us and we went like 2 for 1 or something like that, but we don't really know what's happening because this was like a really weird round. So that's when you should be calling like reset, right? Like just everyone just reset, like take a step back, take a deep breath, and like let's come up with a new plan for this round.
When
I think
I was gonna say
sorry, no,
when
go
you when
ahead.
you when you use the word reset, do you have it where you go back to like the original freeze time call where you reset to like that default or whatever it was called, or do you have
No,
like set reset positions where it's like
no, I think it's like it's honestly neither. I think it's
okay,
because like you're resetting from the initial call, right? So when like for on my team, when I call reset, right? Like for me, like the most essential scenario to call a reset is like uh again, like chaos is happening around the map. Maybe they're not letting you go through with your freeze time call. They're pushing you. You're trading back and forth. Maybe it's like a 3v2 now, a 2v2, whatever. Reset. Reset. Just Don't go back to the original call. Don't go there. Don't go to some like set
Mm.
call either, right? Like reset and let the players alive, or if someone's dead and has some like crucial piece of information, let them make a whole new call, right? So like the way I try to explain it to people is, so obviously Counter Strike's like a 5 versus 5 game, right? It's 5 versus 5, and different things happen around the map. People get picks, map control, whatever, blah blah, right? But if you kind of break the rounds down and break the game down into separate phases, if you will, right? You could, again, let's just say it's like a crazy chaotic situation. Now it's down to a 2v2, right? If you, this is something I see a lot of lower level players make the mistake of. Don't approach this 2v2 like it's still a 5v5. I don't like, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like actually think about it like, it might sound stupid, but actually think about it like you're playing like a wingman game now, right? Like whatever just happened the first like 40 seconds to get us in 2v2, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like maybe, yeah, we know there was a guy here and maybe we can just speed up or whatever, right? But like you can actually look at this as like an entirely new round, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
it's no longer a 5v5, right? Now it's a 2v2, and we don't really know what they're going to do at this point, right? Like, so we can approach the scenario with a completely fresh mind, right? Like, uh, again, or here's another example. Like you're trying to just B pop on Mirage, right? Maybe you're just trying to B pop, 5 man B pop, and maybe you get 2 entries, but they had a third guy that was hiding somewhere and he gets a triple kill. And then you trade that guy. Now it's a 2v2, and you don't, and maybe your guys are still like in apps and they're not really able to get out because like you think maybe somebody's already marked it, maybe the ops posted on you, maybe they're flanking you underpass, right? That's when you can call like reset, reset. You know, it's 2v2. There's still a minute 20 left in this round because we were just trying to beat pop instantly. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know where they're at. So just reset the round, right? Like let's stick together. Let's come up with a new plan,
Yeah.
right? We don't have to just continue to go B, you know, like that. That I think is something I see a lot of lower level teams make the mistake of. Like they'll just try to continue to do what the original call was, right? And that can work sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times, especially when you're playing better teams, those type of situations happen. And if you just continue to go, like they're just going to be ready for it, right? So
Yeah.
the game gives you 2 minutes, right? Like obviously there is a call in the beginning, and you know obviously if it's like a beat pop, you're trying to just instantly go as 5, but use every second the game gives you. You know, like seriously, like don't just think because we tried to beat pop and it's a 2v2, just go out like. Use all this time, you know, come up with something new. It can even be like going back to the other keywords, right? It can just be freeze. Let's just sit here for another 30 seconds. Let's see if they give us a mistake. Oh, they didn't give us a mistake. All right, maybe now we can go out together and you know play the round, plant the bomb, 2v2, post plant, etc., whatever the case might be. Uh, so I think reset is, in my opinion, in my experience, the most important keyword in the game because it can snap everyone's mind out of what just happened and put their mind into, okay, what do we do next? All right, because if you approach the rest of the round thinking about what just happened, you're not going to be focused on what's going on now, the
Yeah.
present moment, because it can be a whole new scenario now, right? It's a 2v2. They can play it however they want. We can play it however we want. This is no longer a 5v5 situation, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think reset is the most important one, though, for sure.
Yeah, I've actually never thought about using that word in that aspect because when you mentioned me saying that, I definitely started using that, but I used it in the sense like here's a specific example. Like
Hmm.
we go for it's an overpass game. We go for like a early round monster pop, like 15 seconds in the round, and then we get like smoked off, and like this guy like re-smokes again, and it's like okay, this is they clearly know we're monster. Let's just I'll say reset, but then like when I would say that, I would say like we would reset into like the old default. Like everyone just assumed that we're just defaulting again. But you were using the word reset as in like it just wiped the round. This is a completely new like fuck whatever
Yeah,
was said in the beginning. Like
I think like the way you're using it, I think a better term is cancel
yeah,
because yeah, because like that it's more the verbiage, if you will. Cancel is more of like, okay, this play just don't do it anymore, right? Because like
Mm,
you said, they just know we're here somehow. They smoked us off, and it's feeling chalked. So just cancel, and then
yeah.
that's when you can just cancel back into default, guys. You know what I mean? Just go back. Let's just start establishing our a default on overpass. Maybe get a guy walking into short, leave a guy outside monster, etc., etc. So I think, at least in my opinion, that scenario that you're talking about, cancel is a better word, and that's another word that every IGL like needs to have too in your vocabulary as
Yeah,
an
100%.
IGL is being like cancel, guys. Like like there's so many times as an IGL, like especially once you start to become more experienced and you've been through all these scenarios, how many times like you will call a play like example like the monster pop, and just something the other team does is just gonna tip you off. Like you can't really explain what, just this doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like this feels wrong. This feels like they know. All right, so just cancel, scrap the call, and let's go into default or call whatever else you want to call at that point, right?
Yeah. I
But
think
yeah, I think cancel is a better word for that.
yeah, what you're saying makes more sense because I would use the word cancel too, but then I'd use them both. I feel like it would probably
Hmm.
just be more optimal just to say cancel, and then within cancel, you just assume what you said, like you just reset into like the old default. I like the word
Exactly. Yeah.
reset that you brought up though. I've never thought about doing that because I definitely have a bad habit of like, well, this was the call, like I got to stick to the
Yeah.
call now, and like
Hmm.
I'm still like trying to entry like with like it's a 2v2, it's like that doesn't work. Um,
Yeah, it's like we were talking about a little bit about this on the last one, where like you just have to remember that Counter Strike, like Counter Strike is a sandbox, right? Like strats, defaults, metas, all these things are player created concepts, right? Which they're needed, right? And they're obviously a part of the game. But you always have to remember that the game Counter Strike existed before people played it competitively, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So you can reset any scenario to whatever it is you want to do. It does not have to be what the initial call was. It doesn't even have to be the most insane meta play, right? Especially if it's like a 2v2 or something like that, right? Like if it's a 2v2 and you know for a fact that, and maybe you have a bunch of nades, but you know for a fact this guy always reacts this way, or he always gonna just like hide in this corner. Like don't feel like you have to let him know you're coming. Don't feel like you have to throw all these grenades and make sure everything's perfect. Like sometimes you can just go shoot this guy, genuinely. Like seriously, like just shoot him,
yeah,
because that's what's going to win us the round, right? Like maybe we're in this scenario and we think we have to continue through with the call, or we think we have to throw all of these grenades, right? But like if you understand that maybe they're the type of team that they're going to split in a 1v1, sorry, they're going to split in a 2v2, one's going to hold A, one's going to go B, right? Like just surprise this guy, right? Trade him. Like don't give him this cue that you're coming. You know what I mean? Like just surprise him and kill him. So uh yeah, like I think like if that is something that people just have to remember, right? Is that it's a sandbox. You can do whatever you want. And a lot of times, especially when you get to the higher levels, a lot of times the quote unquote dumber play is what's going to win you the round, because they're not ready. They're not expecting it. They're expecting you to do something, smart. They're expecting you to do something meta, and then you're just peeking them, or right, or you're just hiding for 30 seconds or whatever the case might be. So, to all the guys, like get creative out there. Just remember the game. It's a game. You can play it however you want, and don't listen to the people that tell you you must play it this way, or the people that like get mad at you because like you're playing a certain way or whatever, right? Like I was playing a pug earlier, right? And I'm not gonna drop any names, but like I was playing a pug earlier, and this guy was mad because like he's the type of player that just holds W everywhere, right? And this guy got mad because like we adapted to what he was doing and we won the game, and he's just upset about it, right? And like, and people are gonna do that like in league settings too, which is, to me, that's crazy, but whatever. People are gonna be them, but like don't don't listen to other people try to like bring you down and say you can't play this way, you can't do this. Like, you know, like I were talking about before with the styles, like just figure out what works for you and just do it, right? And don't worry about like what other people are saying. Like genuinely, like you can do whatever you want in this game. Truly, just
Yeah.
everyone's just gotta be on the same page about it. You got to communicate it, and anything can genuinely work in this game.